All right. Hello, everyone. We're back again, live with Robin Bratt this time. And Robin, we've got to know each other now. I think it's like 10 years now, probably.
Yes, I think it is, Bassem. I think it is. Time
Yes,
flies.
yes, exactly. I think we've met the first time back in Malta when we were having a training. I was back then working as a country HR director at Corinthia Hotels, and Robin was there to train us and to give us coaching. And it's been quite a journey, and we've been connected since then.
We
And
have.
I've seen her videos and testimonials, and it's quite impressive. So I'm really glad that you're here with us today, and looking forward for an interesting session.
It's an absolute pleasure, Bassem. I'm really looking forward to sharing this with you. I thought that perhaps I can do a little bit of an introduction, and then we can perhaps ask for some questions, and then I can go into the presentation and hopefully answer the questions from the participants.
Absolutely.
So will they be sending in the questions? Will you be able to give me any questions as they answer? Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
So good evening, everyone. It is absolute pleasure, as I was saying to Bassam, to actually join with Bassam in this presentation to you. Your part of the world, I think, holds special memories for me as well in my days with Starwood Hotels when I was in charge of Europe, Africa, Middle East for quality assurance and customer experience. So it's great to feel a little bit of a connection again with this wonderful part of the world. So my name is Robin, as Bassam has introduced. Currently, I live in Malta, and we've lived in Malta for the last 10 years, my husband Brian. And this is Valletta, which is around 10 minutes from where I live, actually. And tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about the impact of your thinking and your mindset on your results and how you can change your results through changing your thinking. And I think at the moment, with all that's happening, this is a really relevant topic for these days. But just before I take your questions, just to give you a little bit of an insight into my background, I wanted to share a little bit about me because I think that will give you a good pretext to understand where I'm coming from in presenting to you tonight and the experience that I have gained through working with my coach and mentor, who I'm going to introduce you to in a moment. So hospitality is has been a huge part of my life, and I think with all that's happening, this is a really sorry, I've got another background noise there, but no, hospitality has been a huge part of my life actually, and it started in Australia when I was 16 as a casual waitress, and then by 21 was part owner of a restaurant, and then worked my way up in hospitality from there. But these are some of my projects when I was in charge of design and luxury brands for Starwood Hotels. And then we've got the Sheraton Noosa here, which was my first hotel I was a general manager of. The Pilbeam Theatre in Rockhampton, where my first restaurant was. The W Barcelona was my baby as in charge of the W brand, the Meridian in Istanbul, and the W hotels in Istanbul and London. So I guess you could say that through having this very deep experience in hospitality, I've always had this sense of exceeding people's expectations is my ambition. And over the past few years, I've done a lot more coaching and leadership development. Just to give you a little bit of a personal information about me so you can understand my passion, which is my family. I have 3 sons and a new grandson. And now we welcome our daughter-in-law and Chris's girlfriend into our family as well. So my family is my passion. We have Sebastian, our youngest son, living here with us in Malta. and the other two boys are following their careers now in the UK and America. A lot of what I'm going to share with you tonight, and I'm going to stop after this slide to answer any questions and make sure that I can capture your questions in the material that I'm going to present. I don't know if any of you know of this gentleman, Bob Proctor. And Bob is probably known as the international guru, if you like, on creating an abundance or mindset. And when I say abundant mindset, I'm not talking just from a wealth perspective, but this is about really developing a mindset where you can create big changes, really be able to impact your results towards a positive perspective. Relationships, team management, sales, health and wellness. And after, well, I've been in business for around 40 years now and have led teams at an international level. And I was really searching for a program or an opportunity where I could facilitate online learning. And I actually took on this opportunity with Bob last March. And this is really, you know, I feel so committed to the material that I'm presenting and the information that I'm learning, combining that with my years of experience. I guess Bob and I have around about 100 years of insights and experience, which I've culminated into our programs. And I'm going to give you a very short overview tonight. So Bassam, is there any questions that anyone has about mindset that you'd like me to focus on as I present the material tonight?
Not yet, but let me ask the audience. Okay, now everyone, we're going to speak about mindset and how we can manage our mind and thoughts during COVID-19 and during trauma and hard times. And believe me, you won't find someone as expert as Robin. So in the chat box, please write this down, your questions, your fears, any thoughts, and we will try to answer your questions as much as we can. So Robin is here with us during the next 30 minutes. So stay tuned. You'll get to enjoy the principles that she is going to share with us, and let us know if you have any questions. And I will communicate the questions as soon as we have any through the chat box to you, Robin.
Okay, great, Bassam. That's fantastic. Thank you. So perhaps I can ask you, Bassam, because it's always very interesting to get the response to this. There has been research done of the percentage of goals that are achieved. So in other words, any goal that is set, what percentage, Bassam, do you think is achieved? If it's 100%, what percentage of that do you think is the...
Since when? Can you give me like a duration?
So it's probably over the last 5 or 6 years. Yes, they've actually culminated that into a percentage of what percentage of goals are achieved.
I think I've been lucky during the last couple of years, and I believe myself and my team, we've managed to achieve more than what we have dreamed of. And in terms of annual target, if we're speaking about revenue and what we do on an annual basis, I think we tend to achieve somewhere between 80 and the 90% out of whatever annual target that we put. But if we think as a company perspective, we have been growing during the last couple or 3 to 4 years. Like each year we're doubling our manning and even doubling our targets. And so we've been lucky and blessed.
That's wonderful.
With what we've been achieving as a team.
And I think that based on the research, you might find that you're quite outliers. So this was sort of a culmination of personal and business goals. And I was surprised with this result as well, that 3% of goals are actually achieved. And I think that if you look at team goals, individual goals, perhaps not so much as the financial goals of a company, KPIs, but when we set some big goals for yourself for change. But I think, you know, hats off to you, Bassam, and the team, that obviously you're very focused. And I think that you have a mindset. And I know from knowing you that you're a very ambitious and determined and disciplined person. So I'm not surprised to hear those results. But this is really where I wanted to focus tonight, because I'm sure that all of you are looking to how that you can change your mindset with this the new way of normal that we're all going to have to deal with on the other side of COVID, which we're here in Malta. People are starting very slowly to return to work, but for example, the hospitality industry on a small Mediterranean island is still there's nothing operating. So it's going to be quite some time before any of that starts to operate. So people need to think very differently. So if you think about a personal goal for tonight, or a team goal, what do you think might be holding you back from reaching your goal? And when I ask this question many times, and I'm guilty of it myself, we talk about circumstances, potentially sometimes people, other team members, for ourselves on a personal level. We're always perhaps thinking about circumstances and situations as to why we're not reaching our goal. But I'm just going to share with you what I believe and what I've learned very much about over the last 15 months, and I consider to sort of be the magic word. And that is attitude and mindset. So, you know, I think these two go hand in hand, and this is where I sort of develop the topic of the discussion tonight around mindset matters. So, and I believe in knowing Bassam that he's very much a growth mindset type of person, in that this is the type of person or team that are going out and making things happen. They're not waiting for things to happen. In this current situation, they're looking for people, the teams with a growth mindset are looking for opportunities. They're challenging themselves to really think differently about how they can achieve their results. They really have got the attitude towards moving forward and really challenging those obstacles when they may present themselves. They're looking at failures as opportunities to learn, and they're people, teams that have that attitude of create rather than compete. Now, when I say that, I don't mean that you're not looking to achieve, to be the best in the industry. What I'm meaning is that you are looking at all times as to how you can be the best, how you can create the best ideas, rather than looking to what others are doing and following them. The other thing is that you celebrate each other's successes, you celebrate others' success, which inspires you. So does this sort of feel right to you, Bassam? Yes.
Yes, I think it's, I mean, now that we have passed through this time, so it comes back to my mind all the principles that it's right in front of the screen now, and I think I have been trapped in the fixed mindset when everything happened in the first week or the first 10 days. And it's been really shocking, and it's been really hard, because we've had our minds fixed on a certain path, a certain budget, a certain target, a certain things that we are used to sell. And I started to lay off my hands as a manager, because things were moving forward. I was just interfering in the things that needed me to interfere, but everything was up and running and things were going smoothly. But then all of a sudden, I was in the air, in the middle of the sea, and I after the shock time, I asked myself, and I said, well, if I kept like this, I guess I'm gonna be too late.
Yes.
Um, and that's what made me and the team. We started renovating who we are. We started changing the way we do things, and we started introducing things that are unique and different, suitable for the current situation, and even further. And I believe that now that we started to get some interests, it shows that it will pay off. That the more we become agile with the current situation, the more we're not stagnant, and the more we're not having a fixed mindset, the more possibility for growth and for moving forward. And I think that's the only way out.
Yes, because the fascinating thing is, and while this may not seem such a big surprise, but we actually do have a choice as to how we consider a situation or a challenge. And we can either choose to think with this, these aspects of the fixed mindset. And for example, if you take those challenges and issues on with this mindset of, when I'm frustrated, I give up. I don't want to be challenged. I don't want to do something different because I may feel a fail. I feel threatened. Then you're going to feel that, as we said, many people came to me at the start and like, I feel stuck. I don't know which way to go. I really don't know, because all of a sudden we were all thrown out of our comfort zones. And so we really took a little while to adjust. And it's through having a growth mindset that if you could adapt that focus on wanting to take on all of these opportunities and challenges as possibilities to grow, this is going to be where success will be for you. Now, I know this is a very busy screen, but I wanted to show you the power of paradigms. Now, I don't know if you've heard that word before, but this is something that has really changed my results and those of the people that I work with in understanding the power of the paradigm. Just like your computer has an operating system, internally in our subconscious mind, we all have our own operating paradigms, which become our mindset. The paradigms based on our culture, how we were brought up, major emotional impacts in our life, things that we continue to impress upon our subconscious mind, become the way that we automatically think about things. And this becomes sort of our comfort zone. The paradigms reside in our subconscious mind. And I'm going to explain a little bit about that to you, because there's a simple way of looking at it, which I think when you grasp it, it makes so much sense. And it helps you to understand that, those times when people, or even yourself, you say, I know I should be doing that, but why didn't I do it? Or you have team members, better to do it that way. Yes, I know. So why didn't you do it? Because our paradigms are like our autopilot. And especially at the moment, when we've been taken out of our comfort zone, most of us are going back to that actual programming in our mind. It's like that thermostat. We get reset back to our automatic way of being. And this is incredibly important, because we can change these paradigms, but it does take discipline and consistency in really considering the opposite to whatever you may want to think. This is very important. As I said, it's like your autopilot. We all have this, if you can imagine, in our minds, we have this setting, and then we work for a time. Maybe we want to lose weight. Maybe we want to get fit. And we may work for a time and we're doing well. And then something happens. And for a week or 2 weeks, we don't work out. And then we get reset back to that autopilot, back to our way of being before. And then it becomes harder than ever to move forward again. But the more discipline and the more consistency we put into changing these ways of being, and even with our teams, the more effective we will be. And I just wanted to mention for any people that are watching who are in charge of teams or companies, that internal culture of a company is a mindset. It's like a group paradigm. So is your mindset of your company aligned to the vision and the values and what you want to achieve going forward? Something that I think is very important is, with these new ways of working, with these new challenges that are put in front of us, with these new ways of thinking about things like this pandemic, we may need to shift or change the mindset of our organizations in order to achieve results, given the very many different situations we have to deal with. Now, Albert Einstein, I love this quote because we are all going into different situations. As Bassam said, you know, they had a different situation. They started to think differently about it. And that's when they started to get different results. But I can assure you, and I'm sure if you're honest with yourself, that many times you've endeavored to get different results and change the results. And yet you're coming at it from the same way that you've thought about things in the past. So if you're wanting to achieve a different result, maybe a quantum leap, maybe now you're wanting to achieve results, but there's a different situation happening, so you've got to work differently. But if you and your team are thinking in the same way, they're not going to meet. So as Albert Einstein says, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And it's the same thing. You can't expect different results with the same thinking or the same mindset. So you've really got to change and challenge your mindset, because mindset does matter. Now, we've talked a lot about the mind already in this presentation, and how often do we talk about the importance of the mindset? So Bassam, can you tell me, when I say the word mind, what do you think of? What do you think the mind looks like? Or what does it look like? How would you describe it?
I think it's the remote control of our body. I've been reading actually a lot about how the mind functions and how it affects our being, and it's just incredible. It's incredible. The more you get to understand how it functions and how our thoughts could actually make us healthier, and it could also make us not healthy at all.
Exactly.
It's just incredible when you get to read about it and when you get to understand the science behind it, because sometimes we think that it is just a motivational talk, that we're just trying to convince people that you need to think positive because you're going to feel better. But as a matter of fact, there is something that happens between the thoughts and the feeling, and
Yes.
that happens in here. So it's actually happening in here, that when you change your thoughts, that your mind releases things that makes your body feel happy.
Absolutely.
So when we do understand that it is science, it's just exactly like when we eat healthy, we get healthier, and the opposite is true. It's the same. When we feed our mind with positive thoughts, it will make us happy and it will make us move forward.
You're so absolutely right. But you know, what's been interesting to me is when I ask this question, even when I was asked, I immediately sort of think of the brain, and a lot of people say, well, it's the brain, or they might, talk more about electrons or things like this. And you're so right, Bassam, that the mind actually, scientifically, it's proven the reason why the mind is so powerful and actually is what controls our results is because our body is made up of billions of cells, and each of these cells holds an element of memory in it. And then, so as I'm going to explain to you in a moment, this memory is like our as I was talking about before, the subconscious programming. Now, what happens is that, and this is a neat little way of explaining the mind. It was developed by a scientist, Dr. Thomas Fleet, in 1934. And I think it really helps to understand the power of our mind and incredibly the power of our subconscious mind. So the head is actually very big for the purpose of describing the power of the mind. And our body is where obviously we get our results. As Bassam was saying, if we want to get healthy or achieve the results, have this positive energy, this attitude towards getting things done, it's very important to be aware of how this all works. So what happens is the conscious mind is our thinking mind. And through our five senses, we hear, see, taste, touch, and smell, we receive information, and that's energy. All of this information coming into our mind is like energy. And then what happens is we choose how we process that information. So Bassam and I, for example, could be working in the same company. We receive the same information. Bassam has a growth mindset. He's focused on receiving information and processing in a way that he looks at it as a possibility. I have more of a fixed mindset and I'm sort of worried and feeling anxious. I process the same information and it's processed into our subconscious mind. Bassam, he's looking at the possibility, how can I make this happen? Let's move forward in a positive way and look at opportunities and ways that we can resolve this. I'm saying, oh my goodness, no, I'm afraid to move forward. We've done it this way in the past. This can't work. What will they say? What will my boss say? I'm afraid to move forward, so I become stuck. And this is how it's very easy to explain that mindset matters so much. And the fact that mindset is the key to your results, and it's very difficult for many people to explain how the mind works, has led me to sort of take on this crusade, if you like, to be able to educate people around the world on really the power of your thinking, the power of your mindset. So whatever's impressed into your thinking mind is actually then put into our feeling mind, our emotional mind, which causes our results. Whatever's impressed has to be expressed. It's our choice if that information is expressed through fear, doubt, and worry, or strength, belief, courage, the willingness to push forward. It's all through the way we think about things. And our attitude can be explained as a combination of how our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions are aligned to the results that we want. We hear this word so often, attitude. And yes, we do have to have a positive attitude, but it's very important that that attitude is also aligned to the results that your company may be wanting to achieve. That you as a person, if you're wanting to achieve that particular goal, you've got to make sure that how you're thinking and your subconscious mind, your mindset, is also aligned. This is really important because that's why we call it the knowing doing gap. I know what I need to do. I know I shouldn't be eating that. So why are you doing it? It's because your mindset is not aligned with your goal. I love this quote by Thomas Jefferson who said, that nothing can stop the man with the right mental attitude from achieving his goal. Nothing on earth can help the man with the wrong mental attitude. So this mental attitude, this mindset, absolutely so important to achieving the goals that you're looking to achieve.
And if I may add as
Yes.
well, that it's quite a journey. So I would say that it is not a click of a button. So
No, it's
you
not magic.
no, and we need to keep trying. I look at my past week. I had 2 days off and 3 days on. So I had 2 days when I was feeling bad and I was feeling down and I had my doubts and everything was messed up because I had the wrong attitude and the wrong input into my mind. So it just reflected on everything. It reflected on the way I dealt with my kids, with my wife. It reflected on how me thinking of the new ways that we want to implement at the company. But I had 3 days on and I was on fire. So, and that's the journey. We need to
Yes.
keep on trying. We will fail sometimes and we will get trapped into our fears and doubts, but we need to come back again and put in the right thoughts on and the hopes on and start thinking and how can we use whatever challenges that we're facing as an opportunity. And then
Absolutely.
and only then the new thoughts and the new hopes and the positivity will start on moving forward.
Absolutely. And something that I say to my team and my clients all the time, if you have a bad day, don't let that be your next day. Like, don't let your past be your future. It's very important to snap out of it and then keep moving towards what you want. Don't give your energy to what you don't want. So don't keep focusing on the negative side, keep focusing on what you want.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Because we are heading to a new normal. So you've really got to prepare yourself now to grow and achieve the results that you want and you deserve, but based on a new normal. So how are you preparing yourself? How are you preparing your thoughts, your thinking, your mindset, your team mindset, your culture? How are you aligning it with what you want to achieve in the future? Because with a new mindset, you will achieve new results. This is absolutely critical to moving forward into where you want to take your business. It's like I call it sort of a magnetic force field that you're creating around yourself, the way you set yourself up with your thinking, because thoughts do become things. The way you think about it impresses on your subconscious mind, and that creates the results. One person can get different results from the other through the way they're thinking. So you've got to create this like bulletproof attitude, and that takes discipline and consistency every day. It doesn't just happen. I wish it was a magic pill, but it doesn't. You've got to be consistent with really aligning and continuing to align your thoughts with what you want to achieve. And think about this in that you have a team and you might have someone that's coming in the morning, they've had a bad night, or their attitude is not as good as it should be. It affects everyone. It affects the whole team. Well, your attitude affects you in the same way. And so often we worry about everyone else's attitude and we say, she's got a bad attitude, she's good. But we're not thinking about our own attitude. We have to fix ourselves first and ensure that we've got the right attitude, because that is then what reflects on everybody else. Very important for leaders, for managers, for individuals. We all need to check our own attitude first before thinking about everybody else's. This is really important. I set myself up for success every day, and this is a little routine that I learned from Bob Proctor, and I'm truly, and people that have joined me in following this have given me the similar feedback, because if you just roll out of bed and get to work, you've got traffic, you've got all sorts of things along the way, getting kids to school or whatever it might be, and you get into the office and you're in, you've got an attitude of, oh, this is really tough getting through, and that's going to stay with you for the whole day. But if you can just take, say, 15 to 20 minutes, half an hour to set yourself up in the right way, and this is what I do. So every morning I get up, I write down my big goal, I read that goal out to myself, because writing helps to embed something into your subconscious mind much more effectively than just sort of thinking it. I write down my goal. I consider, who is that person? Who is that team that is achieving that big goal? What are the behaviors of that team, of that person who are achieving that goal? How can I be that person today? So I'm aligning my thoughts, feelings, and actions with that person, with that goal. Then what I do is I write down 10 things that I'm happy and grateful for every single morning. Now, you might think, Robin, that seems like a very strange thing to do, but it's so powerful, because what you're doing is you're changing your energy, because this is an inside out job to ensure that you have the right mindset. So you're actually changing that energy from perhaps focusing on what you don't want to focusing on the good things. I was talking to a CEO the other day, and I was surprised. We were on a panel, and he said, no, I was taught in the last year, we did some mindset work with the team, and I practice gratitude every morning. And instead, I used to come in and look at the problems first, and that would put me in a bit of a, not a good vibe for the day. And I found that I was really getting stuck. So now what he does, he comes in, focuses on what's good, and uses that good energy to resolve some of the problems that he may have. And he said, in a much more effective way. This is a simple little free exercise that really, I promise you, will set yourself up for success if you really focus on that every day. So with that, Bassam, as Bob Proctor says, you are the only problem you'll ever have, and you are the only solution. So it really is up to you. For all the viewers of this webinar and live tonight and over the coming days, I would really urge you to consider how you can change your mindset towards achieving different results. And together with Bassam, we have programs that we can offer you, and we would be really happy to talk to you as to how we can maybe support you either on an individual basis or as a team to develop the right mindset towards achieving the results that you want.
Thank you so much, Robin. It's always good to have you, and it's always good to listen to you. And I personally have learned, as I always do, from you. And ladies and gentlemen out there, I want to let you know ahead of time that we'll probably be having Robin again near in Egypt as soon as we have the airports open.
Yes, and, that's great. Soon.
And even before that, we'll probably be having more live sessions. We're preparing something big towards the end of this year, so stay tuned. And till then, remember that everything lies in here.
Yes.
You can determine who you want, not the circumstances and not anyone else. So nourish yourself with positive thoughts, with hope, and with good things. I try every day to do this. I try to write down, we all have cell phones, and I try to write down the things that I want to achieve intentionally every day. Even watching TV, I put it intentionally. So spending time with my kids, I put it intentionally. Don't leave things to happen by chance, because when you do things intentionally, it turns to be a habit and not just intentional. Unintentional, sorry. So I encourage you to live an intentional life and put in some effort to think of the blessings that you have, and write down some positive things that you might be passing in, and keep on increasing them over and over, and this would help you to move forward, whether you yourself or you and your organization. Thank you for following us today. And Robin, have a great night. Thank you, and it was a great pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.